All right, guys, ready for a little bit more action here. This is May 7th, 1908. Highlanders at the Red Sox. I've already told you how fond I am of playing playing games with the New York Highlanders. They have been falling 9-11 for New York so far this season. The Red Sox are at 11-10, and they're starting to slip a little bit as the Athletics have taken over so far in 1908. Harry Niles here for New York. Rolls a 44 for an 8 off of Eddie Seacott. That's a base hit, and then he's caught stealing because of the little C. So there's one out and one hit now for New York. Willie Keeler now roll a 13 for a 14, and he walks, and that brings up Charlie Hemphill. Runner on at first base now is Keeler, and we'll take a quick look over here at his card. Of course, he does have the 11, which is so common in 1908. So do a little hit and run, and it's a 66 and a 0 for Hemphill. And the next roll is a 26 for a 6. It's going to be a double that will score Keeler, and that brings up Neil Ball. 1-0 here, Highlanders getting to Eddie Seacott early. Ball rolls a 24 for a 13. Strikeout for Seacott. 2 gone. Here's Jake Stahl. And he rolls a 55 for a 9. That's going to be a ground ball over to Unglaub. First baseman goes to the bag himself. And we go to the bottom of the first. Doc Gessler now is up. Rolls a 32 for a 26. That's a ground ball to Niles, and he throws to first. 1 away. Bob Unglaub rolls a 66 for a 0. Next roll, 53 for a 6. And there is a chance at a home run off of Joe Lake. And it ends up the roll is a 62. So now it's going to be a double. And that will bring up Ambie McConnell. Joe Lake, 2-0 this season for New York. 6 strikeouts, 4 walks, 0.76 ERA. He hasn't pitched that many innings, so it's not that meaningful. 261 batted against average. That's probably a little bit more meaningful. And McConnell's roll is a 64 for a 13 and strikes out. So that's going to be strikeout number 7 on the year for Joe. 2 gone. Here's Heine Wagner. And he rolls a 63 for a 31 fly ball center field, and that does that. We will go here to the top of, to the top of the, there we go. Top of the second inning. I go ahead and sort of mute myself for a second here. There we go. And it's Hal Chase up here for the Highlanders. Rolls a 13 for a 37. Changed to a 40. It's going to be a foul ball. Next roll for Chase is a 12 for a 24. It's a ground ball over to shortstop. Heine Wagner has that. Throws to first for the out. 1 away. Walter Blair comes up. He rolls a 46 for a 27. It's a ground ball over to third base. And Lord has it. Throws over to first. 2 gone. Wade Conroy now rolls a 61 for a 32. It's a fly ball right field, and that's going to be Gessler who grabs that for the out. And we go to the bottom of the second. It's Gavy Kravitz up there. Rolls a 63 for a 31. Fly ball over to Hemphill in center field for the first out. And here's Harry Lord. Lord rolls a 66 for a 0. And then a 22 for a 2. So that's going to be a triple for Harry Lord. And that will bring up Lou Krieger, runner on at third base. 1 out, bottom of the second inning. And what should we do here? Do we want to bunt? Do we trust Krieger not to roll a 13? He's only got 2 on his card. I think we're going to pull the infield in no matter what. Yeah, let's try to bunt. Let's just see what happens here. And the roll is a 64 for a 27, which is a foul strike. We'll take the bunt off, keep that infield in. Next roll is a 46 for a 29. So that's a comeback over to Lake, who throws to first. That's not going to get it done. 2 away. And here's Denny Sullivan. He rolls a 54 for a 45. There is a little E roll, however. It's a 46 out of the range. So it's going to be a fly ball over to right field. Keeler's got that for the out. We go to the top of the third. Red Sox with a couple chances here to tie this game. Haven't been able to take advantage of them. And it's Joe Lake leading this off for New York. Rolls a 53 for a 21. Changed to 20. That's going to be an error on the second baseman McConnell. And that's the first error of the ball game. Lake ends up reaching base. That'll bring up Harry Niles. Niles rolls a 42 for a 22. He's hit by the pitch. And so there's runners now on first and second. Nobody out for the Highlanders. And here comes Keeler. And the question is, do you bunt them over or just swing away? With the 1-0 lead, I think we'll swing away. And it's a 42 for a 22, changed to an 18, which means it's going to be a single that will score 1. Niles goes over to third, and that makes this 2-0 for New York, and that'll bring up Charlie Hemphill. So 2-0 now to score, and here comes Hemphill. And his roll is a 62 for a 12. That's going to be with the infield back. Ground ball over to Unglaub, who throws to Heine Wagner at covering at second for 1. Back on to Unglaub at first for the double play. And that will score a run in the meantime. And Neil Ball is now the batter up. So there's 2 away here, top the 3rd inning. And Ball's role is a 22 for an 8. That's a single over left center field. And they're really teeing off of Seacott here so far. 3-0 to score. Jake Stahl is the batter, and he rolls a 61 for 37, changed to 41. And that means that Ball is going to end up being injured here on this play. It's just a simple ground ball over to Heine Wagner, who flipped it over to Amby McConnell covering at second base. And so we'll go back here to the bottom of the 3rd inning, as that was the 3rd out. Neil Ball ends up having to be changed here in the field, and it's going to be Kid Elberfield who's going to come in for him. So we'll change him over there in the field, and Eddie Seacott will lead off here at the bottom of the 3rd inning. 3-0 to score. Highlanders on top. Seacott's rolls a 22 for a 7, so he comes up and promptly hits a single over to right field. That'll bring up Doc Gessler. Seacott fast, especially for a pitcher. I mean, it just had to check, no 11s. And the roll for Gessler is a 25 for an 8, so that's going to be a single over to left center field. Seacott with that speed goes all the way over to 3rd. And the Red Sox are in business. Here's Bob Unglaub. He's hitting 305, 321 on base percentage, 390 is the slugging percentage, which is pretty good for 1908. Remember the season that we're playing in. Unglaub rolls a 45 for a 14, and he'll take his base on the walk, and that brings up Amby McConnell. His average around 279. Got a home run, which you think is rare. It actually hasn't been so rare in this replay. McConnell's roll is a 36 for 33, and that's going to be a little pop-up on the infield. Hal Chase has that for the first out, 1 away. Here's Heine Wagner. Heine Wagner not hitting so well this season, so far at least. And his roll is a 33. That'll be a 7, and that's a single over short. That will score 2 and send Unglaub over to 3rd. So Wagner gets it done, and that brings up Gavy Kravitz here. 3-2 now the score as Joe Lake is finally starting to feel the heat. And we'll do a little hit and run here with Gavy. And the roll is a 24 for a 13. Strike him out, throw him out. So it's a strikeout against Kravitz. And then the throw gets Wagner trying to steal second. Elberfield makes the tag, and we go to the top of the 4th inning. Hal Chase will lead this off for the Highlanders. 3-2 ball game. Pretty good game. And the roll is a 45 for a 14. It's a walk-off of Eddie Seacott. That'll bring up Walter Blair. They'll do a little hit and run. And the roll is a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball to right field. Gessler gets that for the out, 1 away. Wade Conroy now the batter, hitting only 121. Really, really struggling this season. And Wade rolls a 44 for an 8. So there's a single over to left center field. Chase will go over to 3rd, and Conroy has gotten it done. And here comes Joe Lake, the pitcher. And the question is, well, what do we do with him? We're going to bunt, and we're not going to... Yeah, we are. We're going to put the safety squeeze on. That's what we're doing here. So we will not do a suicide squeeze with Chase. Lake comes up with instructions to bunt, rolls a 35 for a 13. That's going to be a foul strike, and we'll try it again. I guess I should put the infield in. The roll now, 13 for a 13. That's another foul strike. 2 strikes quickly on Joe Lake. We still would rather do this than ground it to a double play. And the last roll is a 63 for a 27. That's going to be another strike. That's a strikeout, and that does it for Lake. 2 away now. Harry Niles up there. Still runners on at 1st and 3rd. Niles rolls a 32 for a 26. That's a simple ground ball over to the second baseman, McConnell, who flips over to Heine Wagner at covering the bag. And we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. So 3-2, the score remains. Both teams having their chances and leaving a bunch of guys on. And it is Harry Lord here for the Red Sox up next. And Harry Lord rolls a 14 for a 43. And here's the little E roll. It's a 65. It's going to be out of the range. Fly ball over to left field. And Stahl has that for the out, 1 away. Lou Krieger now the batter. He rolls a 33 for a 7. It's a single to right. And that brings up Denny Sullivan. Sullivan comes up, runner on at first base. Yeah, we're not going to bunt. It's tempting, but I'm not going to do that with Eddie Seacott coming up after him. And the roll here is a 43 for a 29. That's going to be come back over to Lake. Has to go to first with that. Krieger goes up to second. There are 2 outs now, though. Seacott hitting actually 308. It was a better idea to bunt than not. And Seacott rolls a 21 for a 13. He will strike out. We go to the top of the 5th inning. Still 3-2 Highlanders. Pretty good game, though, with the Red Sox starting to come back. Willie Keeler's up. He rolls an 11 for a 7. So that'll be another base hit for Keeler, and brings up Charlie Hemphill. Hemphill so far today is 1 for 2, a double, and grounded into a double play. And I believe he drove in a run if I am reading this correctly. He rolls a 32 for a 26. It's going to be a ground ball over to McConnell, who flips over to Wagner for the force out. They're unable to complete the double play, however, and there's one out now for Kid Elberfeld. And he rolls a 43 for a 29. That's a comebacker this time to Eddie Seacott, who turns around and finds Wagner again. So they get the lead runner 2 times in a row. Jake Stahl is up next, and he rolls a 61 for a 37, changed to a 39, and that's going to mean that the runner Elberfeld is caught trying to steal. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still a 3-2 game, New York in the lead. Doc Gessler comes up, the leadoff hitter for the Red Sox, 1 for 2 today, hitting now 376 this season. And he rolls a 45 for a 14 and goes and takes his base. Now, Bob Unglaub. So the Red Sox have been hitting actually quite well from the top of the order. Gessler's problem is that he's not particularly fast, but we can do the hit and run with that 11. So we'll give it a try. And the rolls a 55 for a 7, and that's what you want to see. It's a single over to right field, sends Gessler all the way to third base. Unglaub now the runner on at first, and that brings up Amby McConnell, and there's nobody out. Infield will come in, bottom of the 5th inning. We're going to swing away with Amby. And the roll is a 35 for a 9. That's going to be a single over short. That's one of those times the C doesn't stop the 9. Scores 1, and Unglaub goes to second. So now it's a 3-3 ball game, and Heine Wagner is the batter. Wagner today 1 for 2, has driven in 2 with his RBI single, and he is hitting 275 so far this season. I think we mentioned that last time he was up. 7 RBIs is all. Has a chance to really add to that total now, though. 3-3 ball game here, bottom of the 5th inning. And Wagner rolls a 14 for a 43. It's probably not going to get much done. Little E rolls a 33, way out of the range. It's a fly ball left field, and it's Stahl who has that for the out, and the runners don't move anywhere. So there's one away. And here's Gavy Kravitz, and this is the part of the order where you got to start wondering what's happened to the bats. Kravitz having a hard time hitting that Mendoza line, hitting 175. And the roll's a 64 for a 22, and that's going to be an error on Lake, the pitcher. So it comes back to Lake, and he boots it, allowing runners, the runner Kravitz to reach, and the other runners to reach their new bags. And so the bases are loaded now with Harry Lord coming up, and only one out. Bottom of the 5th inning, Lord is 1 for 2 today, had a triple, didn't score, interestingly enough, after that triple, hitting 215. And his roll is a 24 for a 13, so he strikes out. Joe Lake gets to him. That's strikeout number 4 of the game for Lake, and number 10 of the season. Lake came into this game with only 6. He's got 4 so far, so 2 away, and here's Lou Krieger. Krieger, who's 1 for 2, rolls a 41 for a 28. That's going to be a ground ball simple over to Elberfeld, who flips over to Niles at second base, and they get the runner, and we go to the top of the 6th inning. So still, now it's a 3-3 ball game, and it's still a close game. Up now, Jake Stahl. Stahl rolls a 24 for a 13. That'll be a strikeout. 1 away. Hal Chase comes up. And Chase rolls a 33 for a 7. That's a single to right field. And so Chase, now the runner on at first. Chase, of course, is pretty fast, and so they will hit and run with him again. Here comes Walter Blair. Blair today 0 for 2. 286 average, though, not too bad for a catcher. He rolls a 41 for a 28, and that's going to be a ground ball over to Wagner at short, who throws to first for the out. Chase moves up. 2 away now, and here's Whit Conroy, and we've already talked about his woes at the plate. Conroy just is not hitting his weight, and he rolls a 62 for a 12, and that'll be a strikeout. And so we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Highlanders have wasted another chance. Here is Denny Sullivan. Sullivan rolls a 32 for a 26. That's going to be a grounder over to Niles at second, throws to first, 1 away. Eddie Seacott comes up again. Seacott rolls a 42 for a 13. It's a strikeout. 2 away. Doc Gessler, now the batter, and he will roll a 22 for a 7. That's a single over to right field. Hit number 9 for the Red Sox, and it brings up Bob Unglaub. Man, the top of the order has been hitting like crazy. Unglaub today 2 for 2. 2 hits, a double and a single, and a walk also with a time caught stealing. And Unglaub rolls a 26 for a 27. That's going to be a ground ball over to Conroy, who goes over to Niles at second for the out. We go to the top of the 7th inning. Still a 3-3 ball game, still tight and still tense. Here's Joe Lake for New York. Lake rolls a 25 for a 9. That's going to be a pop-up over to third base. Lord has it, 1 away. Harry Niles now is the batter, and he rolls a 54 for a 45. Here's the little E roll. It's a 15, and so that will end up being changed to an error. That will be an error on Lord, the third baseman. That'll bring up Wee Willie Keeler with Niles on it first. Niles is pretty fast, so we will do some hit and run action with him. Keeler so far today is 2 for 2 and had a walk, 1 RBI and 1 run scored. And let's see if he can do something here. His roll is a 54 for a 45. It's going to be a fly ball over to right field. Gessler's got that. They're two-way now here in the top of the seventh, and that brings up Charlie Hemphill. Hemphill today 1 for 3, did hit into a double play, but also had a double driving a run home. And he rolls a 42 for a 14. That'll be a walk. And so Seacott playing with fire here, 3 walks and 4 strikeouts so far today, and that brings up Kid Elberfeld. Elberfeld, of course, came into the game after Ball was injured. 7 plate appearances looking for his first hit. And he rolls a 63 for a 29. It's going to be a ground ball back to Seacott, who turns around and throws to Unglaub at first for the out. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's going to be Amby McConnell here for the Red Sox, as this is still a 3-3 ball game. McConnell rolls a 66 for a 0. And his next roll, 32 for an 11. That'll be a single for McConnell. And McConnell then will advance to second base as he steals second. And with that, we have a runner on in scoring position for the Red Sox, bottom of the 7th inning. Still a 3-3 game. And the question is, how long do you stay with Lake? I think we'll stay with Lake a little bit longer. Heine Wagner up next, 1 for 3, had a single and drove in 2. And he rolls a 51 for a 9. Make sure I'm at the right place. There we go. That's going to be a ground ball over to the first base side. Hal Chase gets it, goes to the bag himself, and McConnell moves up to third. And so the infield will come in now. Gabby Kravitz is up there, and there is a chance to score the runner. I'm looking for 13s. I only see 1. I think we're safe to bunt, but we'll see what happens. The roll's a 45 for a 14. And that means that Kravitz is a hit by the pitch and ends up having to be taken out for the rest of the game. And that will bring up Harry Lord. So that's a pretty big loss for the Red Sox. They have to find another outfielder, preferably one who's not a slow runner. Probably going to be McHale, either that or Jack Thoney. We're going to go with Thoney. So Jack Thoney is going to be the pinch runner and will end up being an outfield and left field for the Red Sox. It brings up Harry Lord now. Thoney, does he have one? He does. Thoney does have an 11. Infield comes in, and this will be a hit and run, one of these rare combinations. So here is, whoops, we will undo that. There we go. Here we go. So here comes Lord, and let's see what happens here. And the roll is a 56 for a 34, and with the hit and run on, that's going to be a line drive over to the shortstop Elberfeld. He makes the grab and then throws over to first to double up the runner Thoney, and we go to the top of the 8th inning. So pretty intense and pretty exciting moment there as the Red Sox were very close to going ahead in this game, and instead they line it to a double play. They have left 9 men on base so far. Top of the 8th inning we go, and it's still 3-3. Jake Stahl, the batter. He rolls a 62 for a 12. That'll be a ground ball over to Unglaub, who goes to first himself, 1 away. Hal Chase now. And Chase rolls a 14 for a 43. Here's the little E-roll. It's a 45 out of the range. So it's a fly ball over to left field, and Thoney's got that. Thoney, who just came in the game, 2 away. And here's Walter Blair. Walter rolls a 43 for a 29. It's a comeback over to Seacott, who throws to first, and we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Lou Krieger will lead this off. Krieger 1 for 3 today, hitting .217. He rolls a 64 for a 27. That's going to be a grounder over to third, and it's Conroy making the play going to first, 1 away. Denny Sullivan now rolls a 23 for a 32. Fly ball to right field. Krieger has it. Keeler has that, and there's 2 gone. And here comes Eddie Seacott, the pitcher, staying in the game still. He rolls a 54 for a 45. There's a little E-roll. It's going to be a 15, so it's within that range. We finally had 1 hit, and that's going to end up being changed to an error on the shortstop Elberfeld. Again, the kid who just came in, and that'll bring up Doc Gessler. Now, Gessler's 2 for 3 today, walked, singled twice, and has scored 2 runs. And his roll is a 61 for a 42, so he's hit by the pitch from Lake. That'll bring up Bob Unglaub. Still 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning, but now there's a runner in scoring position for the Red Sox. And Unglaub rolls a 55 for a 7. That's going to be single left field. That will score 1 and send Gessler on the way over to third. So Seacott scores from second, and that turns this suddenly into a 4-3 lead for the Red Sox. The Red Sox have been behind really this entire game, and they've come back from being down quite a bit. And it was a big, big play here by Unglaub in the bottom of the 8th inning, and that will bring up Amby McConnell. So 2 outs still here, bottom of the 8th inning. Here's McConnell hoping to really blow something open. And his roll is a 43 for a 29. That's a comebacker over to Lake, who throws over to first for the out. And we go to the top of the ninth inning. So what a big change of events we've had here. The Highlanders went up by 1 at the top of the first inning, and then we're up at 1.3-0. Red Sox came back with 3 in the bottom of the third. 2 in the bottom of the third, and the third run in the bottom of the fifth, and then just there in the bottom of the eighth inning have gone ahead 4-3. Eddie Seacott will stay in this game. It'll be Wid Conroy he faces first. Conroy rolls a 26 for a 27. That's a quiet ground ball over to the third baseman, Lord, who goes to first, 1 away. And now comes the pitcher spot for Joe Lake, and we'll have somebody come in to hit for him, but who? I don't know. Moriarty, George Moriarty is going to come on in for him. Moriarty, so far this season, 1 for 2, only 2 plate appearances, and had a hit, a double, and he rolls a 31 for a 9. That's going to be a little pop-up over to the left side. Harry Lord has that for the out. There are 2 away, and up comes Harry Niles. Niles, again, 1 for 3 today, singled, was caught trying to steal a base, got on board again on an error, and then was hit by a pitch somewhere in the middle. And he rolls a 24 for a 13. That'll be a strikeout, and that's the way that this one ends. So final score in this game, 4-3 in favor of the Red Sox, who have come back, and Eddie Seacott ends up getting the victory and puts him up to, I believe, 4-2, if I understand the way that this works right. Red Sox will go to 12-10. Highlanders back down to 9-12. And that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.